What's good, YouTube? And welcome to a conversation that keeps boiling over in the Market Watch, so I want to put it in one dedicated video. Are Yu-Gi-Oh products dying? And the answer by far is yes, a lot of them are. While we've had two great sets recently, the Rarity Collection, a home run, something we've asked for a long time, actually having an OCG product come over to the TCG as intended, and an Age of Overlord really up there, probably rivals Rise of the Duelist. We've been eating good lately, but throughout this year we have not been, and when we don't, guess what happens to stores? They order less and less Yu-Gi-Oh, and then there's less representation, and when the good sets run out, oh boy, pull out the Duelist packs. That's what's prizing today, along with OTS pack supplements. We're gonna help with those. Look at this. It's a shell of its former self. Konami, this is why it's failing if you are listening. You took what used to be beautiful and actually help, and then cards could age well and you could reprint them again to sell them instead of trying to short print within the mega tins. And also, on top of that, you took away full sets like Power of the Elements, move Savage Strike a year back to try to sell other tins. Like, come on, be a little more confident in yourself and make moves that you used to. Power moves like having promos that mattered, not just these metal-esque promos where you get a vanity rarity of Dark Magician for the 50th time. Like, you used to put Maxi, Tour Guide, Rescue Rabbit, more modern examples, Ghost Ogre, Desires. You used to have really nice promos, and it culminated in the 2019 10s, the perfect model. You had something new, Nibiru, Shifter, Dark Ruler no more. You don't have to do something that impactful every year in Power Creep, but you also had anime cards actually drawn by Kazuki Takahashi included, and then past upgrades to really beloved cards on top of it. You had the perfect package one time and you never revisited it, and then you started actually putting chase cards inside and making them super hard to get, like, oh, you might get one of them in this case, uh-oh, RNG, I guess the other two were in that case, for people looking for cards like Dragoon, and that initially flopped, and you had to make a ban list to help it, then cross out Designator flopped, and look where these tins have aged, because you've messed with the formula so much by taking away star reprints, access code talkers missing from the Rise of the Duelist and Eternity Code 10, and that flopped on its face. Two of the most successful sets ever together in a 10 failed because you took out chase cards and decided to use them to try to sell Battles of Legend and other sets, Gold Series. But yeah, look at how these are aging like sour milk, and not even in a good cheesy kind of way. Like, look at this. We are talking that 10s come in a case of 12, cost extra shipping because it's not just a small little booster box. We're talking about under $100 a case, $115 a case here, with some of the best reprints, but you already reprinted a lot of them, and a lot of these were also short printed and half printed, tons of these. An entire front page is littered with those ratios, and then this year, well, yeah, a singular promo is not going to sell, and the ratios are once again having short prints to where people don't want to open them. You playing with the ratios on products like these that were supposed to actually give value back to the player base is what's making them not worth opening, and that's what's affecting your product number 2, actually, side sets. People don't want to go in here when you only get 3.6 average of each ultra rare in the set, and these used to be all foil sets. People would rather have that than the collector rares, but what you could do is add collector rares in and make it all foil once again. People don't care for rares being here after you pulled them in core sets. Like, you can put rares somewhere else, make it all foil once again, and stop messing with the ratios so bad. There used to be only 3 short prints that would be around 3 something per case, and yeah, they would spread those between the archetypes usually. Here we see 7 different ultra rares for a topping deck that people actually wanted to play and love, and a product that stores and sellers are selling at a loss at this point, along with fan favorite dinosaurs, and then even top level memes. Then we go to Valiant Smashers, again, topping, I believe that top 4 the most recent YCS, and we look through the set list, and there's a lot of really expensive cards, and they're scarce because shops aren't ordering a ton of these because they're all immediately selling for less than they're able to buy them for. And look at Tactical Masters, rotting on shelves, $35 a box, multiple cases listed at that before it goes up towards, oh boy, $40 a box. This has Labyrinth, one of the most beloved modern archetypes that made people actually enjoy trap decks again. Then you have Runic, which is still topping to this day, had a huge meta impact and had big prices at one point. And yeah, you get some Pendulum dudes mixed in here. The disrespect is real. But you also did really good on some of the collector rares like Scapegoat, nods to past formats, Cosmic Cyclone, Anti-Spell Fragrance, things that would age well over time, along with Droll and Lockbird being a star, which you also short printed in the rares. You couldn't help yourself, could you? But this set, again, rotting on the shelves. Why is that? Because the ratios are so bad, the player base has actually woken up to it not being worth opening. That's simple. You took away what used to be 20 different secret rares in, a box of 24 packs. That means we're seeing every single secret rare, in theory, outside of the short prints, in pretty much every box. Now, that wouldn't be the case because of short prints, but it was usually only 3 cards, and now it's 10 different cards to where you barely get above a playset and there's not excess cards to trade, and you're trying to make it the system where people have to go for. And is it working? No, they're all failing. Look at the best set pretty much ever for a side set, purely Mechanico as Rogue, and then you also get, this is pretty much Secret Forces good. You also get Rescue Ace, which becomes top meta. 2 top meta decks. That's pretty similar to Nekroz and Spiritual Beast, and then having Boo-Boos on the side. This actually produced a 3rd meta deck that actually found its way in. This is one of the best ever, and it's selling for a loss currently, still, while it's relevant. It's that bad. And the simple thing is, it's the ratios that you're printing the cards at. It's the not great access, and it doesn't feel that good to look at your 3 ultra rares after an entire box, not pull a collector rare and go, that supplemental collector rare being around 4 per case, it's not worth it to the player base. It's not worth opening, and stores order less and less of these super impactful, awesome sets that used to, even if they didn't have a meta defining deck or anything that impacted the meta initially, they age nicely because cards inside, also the foil upgrades, the things inside, they do well. Earth Machine did the heavy lifting later, but it wasn't good immediately. Witchcrafter was a fan favorite in Duel Links later, and then you also had Evil Eye, which almost topped regionals. This is a side set that aged to be a $100 box. Think about that. Look at the sets. People have such nostalgia for all foil sets. You really got to go back, even if you charge a little bit more. That's fine. The community would actually, I think, pay $1 a pack more for all foil cards. I hate to tell everybody that you could get charged more for your side sets, but it would be better for everybody if the ratios got fixed, and I think it would be worth it. Now, core sets, we had 2 good ones this year, Photon Hypernova and Age of Overlord, and I would consider personally Cyberstorm Access. A lot of people are going to argue, oh, it's just the Times products. People don't want to buy TCG as One Piece sells out, Lorcana, oh, that's the hot new thing. Oh, look at Magic and Pokemon, they have flops too. This would be a sign of that. Cyberstorm Access. Everything else, no. It's the formulas failing. It's the rotting over time. It's multiple years, even through the card boom. We've had these problems going on. This set has updates to engines that are actually really good, a deck that actually was able to top, a good extra deck monster. This should probably be a $70 box if we were in normal times. Duelist Nexus, however, is not a sign of the times. This is poor product placement. It's a DLC set that pretty much flopped on its face here, and Unchained did the well for itself. Yes, I think it was great, and it did have some notes, but it's a bad DLC set. That's it. It's not made to stand on its own, and it did not perform well. It's like a worse Dama, if anything, like the synchro aspect being there. And the 25th rares, they're not doing much heavy lifting here either, despite their prices being consistently that good. It's that, again, people don't want to open and they don't repopulate. Age of Overlord, look at this. This is probably up there with Rise of the Duelist. You have 2 extra deck staples versus the, Droplet and Talents. You have 2 good archetypes inside between having Horus as well as the Wanted stuff being just great. And Snake Eye is going to age well too. This might be better than Rise of the Duelist in some senses, but it's apples to oranges. Both are top decks, maybe even top 10 to 20 of all time. Like, this is definitely a great set. And then we end the year on these two. We have the Rarity Collection, and that was awesome because you finally listened to the player base, looked at the OCG, brought it over. Whales cried for some bit, and the market's actually already correcting. Other top-end cards are starting to go up. Versions of cards in here, like Effect Veiler, are starting to go up that are not within this set. Nature heals itself at times. The people who were only in it for that aspect probably weren't in it for the love of the game itself. And the people who are going, oh yeah, I can finally get this for my past format deck, are picking up the shambles. This was amazing for actually looking at what the player base could have wanted and saying, we're going to do something big for this year. This was it. And this is a not necessarily new way forward all the time. I think this is a some of the time thing. I think Konami knows that, but it's not like something such as the Gold Sark Megatons that you should auto abandon. You should look to be able to capitalize, continue on certain things, and move forward. So yeah, there's some products doing well. Core sets, not all that bad. 2 good ones, 1 better than mid one, and 1 flop. But the side sets, they're all doing terrible for the most part. And there's a reason for that. The reason is the ratios make them not worth opening. And when products not worth chasing after things in, it sits there on shelves and then the stores order less. Thanks for watching. It's something that's been boiling over in my mind, and there's so much Konami can do to easily fix it. They can look at their past successful models instead of digging their heels in the sand. They can actually revamp it once again. Pretty much anything would be better than how it's been going. Look at what you've taken away step by step and actually think about where you could short print. Like, I gotta give one thing to the Tens. Dark Magician Girl, Blue Eyes, and Red Eyes being shorted. That's great. Stuff like Dragoon, Diviner, Crossout, Prosp, not so great. You know, that's what people are after, and it will rise on its own, and you can cash in on that reprint once again like you used to. You don't have to do all these extra steps. Thanks for watching today's video. That's about what I have to say on the topic. I'll be answering in the comment section here and there as I can. Let me know what you think. And for those people who always go, well, cheaper products, good for the players, this is great. Not at the store's expense. If MSRP was cheaper from Konami to the people, that's one thing. But when these sets are only selling cheaper because they are really terrible for stores and vendors to have, there's a big problem in where you're going to be playing Yu-Gi-Oh! In the future.